Hey guys, thank you for watching another video of mine. If you're watching it live or later, I want to talk about oils in kids today, tonight, and I might get interrupted by Anna because Jared's away. So, first thing is why? Why would we start using essential oils on our kids? And I think they're very similar reasons that we would on ourselves, but there are obviously a lot of safety concerns to consider as well. So, I want to talk about those tonight and make sure that you guys feel equipped and confident with using your oils for your kids. Something that I've spoken about in the past for us has been moving into a low tox environment, a low tox home, trying to get as close to that as possible. Obviously there's things that we cannot control, but everything else we'll try and put in the most control that we can. Supporting emotions is a big one as well. Obviously for us that's huge in this house. And we are quite big personalities, so we sort of need to try and contain them when the moment is right, but also help bring out those right equations to those big personalities at times as well. So using them for support. Calming down, another one that's big here, especially this is something a lot of families can relate to for calming the farm, what we like to speak about in the workshops here. So that hour, the witching hour, or that mad minute that everyone seems to have, just after dinner time or around dinner time, just after school. Yeah, about 4 o'clock, I remember it being when Anna was really little, and now things are a bit more cruisy but there's only one of her, so, sleep and quiet time, so that's a big one for us as well. The oils have really supported Anna and her sleep, and then me being able to get back into having a deeper sleep. I think when you have a baby, it's broken sleep for quite a while, unless you're one of those lucky so-and-sos. And the lavender particularly helped me to be able to settle into a deeper sleep. The immune boost and that preventative measures are huge as well. So I think that's something that we use for support around here, whether it's environmental threats or seasonal threats. We need that preventative measure rather than leaving it too late, and making everyday life more enjoyable. So I feel like we can be a lot of a calmer household, excited when we need to be, but not as angry, not as flying off the handle-ish, and actually able to appreciate the small things again, which is really nice. What I wanted to share with you guys is what's in my bag. So this bag was made for me by one of my friends, Laurie, and she has her Instagram page is at Little Earthlings Handmade, at little-earthling.handmade, no S, little-earthling.handmade. Anyway, so I love it because I can take my oils anywhere, and I think this is a big thing for us when we go out. And you know what, the last few times that I haven't used On Guard on Anna, just for whatever reason have forgotten, the next day she's picked something up and she's like spewed in the morning or whatever. Like this morning was one of those mornings, and we were at the park all day yesterday, and I don't know what she was walking around eating an apple, but you know what kids are like, touching everything, so it obviously got in her gut, so a bit yucky. So we're going to talk about these, but I wanted to just quickly show you guys. So I carry these around. This is On Guard, my heel spray, which I'll talk about again tonight. And what else I've got in here? Wake Up blend, which is peppermint and wild orange. Console, something really random. The Toddler Tamer, which we're going to talk about. And Peace, which I want to talk about as well. I want to really highlight this. Yes, I'm bribing her, so she stays quiet. Here you go. You've got Curious George on as well. All right, so how? The big thing with using oils with your kids, a lot of people are asking, how do I start? Where do I start? What am I doing? And I think safety is number one here. So we dilute in Australia for all use of all essential oils. For people that are used to oils, they might just, grab the bottle and just dot wherever they want it. But that's not what we recommend, especially if you're starting out. We always dilute because it means that you can spread the oil further and it's safe. So if you are going to have a allergic reaction or something like that, for kids, I always recommend that you do like a spot test on their wrist or the bottoms of their feet first, still with a diluted oil, just to see if they're going to have a reaction to it. And it's important to make sure, especially with hot oils, I would be avoiding those with kids altogether. So things like oregano, in blends, they're fine, but still, if you're just starting out, I'd be putting like a toothpick worth of oregano into like an immune bomb blend, which we'll talk about tonight as well. So oregano, you guys would know it from cooking and everything. It is a very hot oil to the skin. So we want to make sure that we're being extra careful with those oils that can have like a burning effect on the skin. Peppermint is another one that can sort of sting the eyes and whatnot if you're holding it too close to your face. The reactions you have, they're going to have tenfold. So you've got to really treat the oils with respect, know what you're doing. I mean, not being an expert, but using common sense, reading through the safety guidelines. If someone's given you samples and they haven't given you a safety guideline, like, they need to be giving you a safety guideline, and they need to be telling you the tips, because for some people it's just not common sense, and it's something that's really important for me. I always send people our like safety sheet, because it might just be something really simple you didn't think of that you might then go and do with your kids. So just those preventative measures. Another one is the ice blue. This is something that I like to call like an adult oil, because it does have the wintergreen in there, which is quite hot. No more whiskers, no. Go finish some potato, please. I'm still in video. Quick, go. Also, using internally, it's a big no-no for kids that are under 6 or 7 years of age. And again, internally is a totally private and personal use matter. Food additives is the safest way to go, you know, if you're using it within cooking and things. And most of the time you need less than 1 drop to, you know, for example, doing something basil or something in a pasta or whatnot. Excuse me. So diffusing is another one. So I've got the diffuser on here next to me, which means I don't have our diffuser on in the lounge room, and I don't have it on in the background because no one's in there. But I think the airflow is quite important for diffusing, especially with kids around and pets. We're going to talk about pets next week. So diffusing, we need that airflow. We need the kids to be able to have a little break from them and not to be so overwhelmed with oils all day long. So we might put something on, like we had On Guard on this morning because Anna wasn't that well, so just wanted to sort of clear the air of those germs. And then, you know, at night we might put something calming on. We might have something on in the middle of the day, but it's not going to be a diffuser on all day long. I mean, that's up to you if you've got older kids, but for little ones especially, it's nice to give them a bit of a break. Citrus oils as well, as great as they are, and everybody loves them, and they're cheap, and they're like 10 cents a drop, you know, kind of cheap. But the thing is, they are photosensitive. So if you are going berserk on your citrus oils, just make sure that if you're using them topically, even if they are diluted, that you're not going directly into the sun. I love to put oils on the back of my neck, but I always do have to be conscious about what blends I'm doing. If I've got my hair up or something, you don't want to have that sort of extra burn feeling. Dilution. So this is a really important one and we get asked this a lot. So for something like this, we've got a toddler tamer here. This bottle is a 10 ml roller. So these are the standard rollers that we'd usually be talking about. What I mean by roller, it's got the top there, the stainless steel ball, and you can roll it straight on. So for something like this, if we weren't doing a blend, just say we were doing lavender, for a newborn, you know, a young little kid up to 6 months old, I'd be doing 1 drop only, and the rest would be diluted with the fractionated coconut oil. Ooh, that I've broken. Good thing that's not glass. So, sorry guys, I'll get to your questions at the end, I think. Yeah, so, and then for kids that are slightly older, I do about 5 drops, 5 to 7 drops. For Anna, we'd do about, so for something like this, when we've got the 3, we'll probably go 2, 4, 6. Or you might want to do an extra one of the citrus or whatever you're putting in. So while I'm holding this one up, this one's called the Tantrum Tamer, and it's balanced, which is a beautiful grounding blend. It's already got a blend of different oils in there. The Copaiba, which is new to Australia, this is my US version. Many of us had got it from the US before. in Australia now, it's so chill. It just makes you chill as F. And the wild orange there, it's invigorating, but it's also got a bit of a sedative sort of effect. So wild orange is such a great one to have for kids, and I'll talk about that too. So what other must-have oils for kids? Lavender is going to be my number 1 pick because it's helped us so much. It's such a personal decision, but I absolutely love it. Great, it's a great all-rounder. Like lavender is in this heel spray, so this one's good for when they fall over, graze their knee. You need, like, you know, it's kind of what they call the owie spray, so you put that straight on. And now if Anna's got a sore leg or something, she'll be like, oh, spray, so you just, you know, spray her with that. Oh yes, you. It's really good for itchy bites and after, you know, mozzie bites. Australia, we get bitten by everything. Healing the skin, calming. It's often used in like a toddler blend as well. I just made that one up based on the calming oils. And then sleep in like a roller bottle. That's Anna's sleep. That's just got lavender in there. I think it's got cedar wood in there too, actually. Easy Air. So if you guys watched the top 10 oils last time, Easy Air is a great one for that respiratory support. It's just going to open up those airways and really great for in the diffuser in the kids' rooms, especially as we're getting into those winter seasons as well. On Guard, amazing. So this is in a hand sanitizer. A friend of ours, Alison, does not start the day without giving her kids a roller down the spine of the On Guard. Just great. Balance, that calming, grounding blend, like we've mentioned a few times. It's an absolute favorite for so many people, and I was like, I don't know, but now I love it and we use it so much. Wild Orange again, and Digestion is such a good one for that stomach support, so just helping things get moving. For the older kids, especially if they're doing study or homework, I would recommend lavender and lemon and rosemary. So lemon's a really good oil for focusing, and rosemary's for that memory. So that's something I use myself when I'm trying to learn, and then also for that memory recall as well. So you could start working with, if they're going through an exam period or something where they've got heavy learning to do, I think it's really good to start using an oil that you're going to have that you know, start having those connections made, so you're building the memory lane for you to remember later on. Also the emotional aromatherapy. So I'm obsessed with the aromatherapy side at the moment because it makes so much sense to what we actually do in our everyday lives. And when they created what they call the emotional aromatherapy kit, it was based on what people needed for certain emotions that they'd be feeling. So blends of whether it's tree oils or more of the spices or the grasses or the florals, they come together to chemically make a difference in our bodies and in our emotions. Have you? All right. I'll change your napkin in a minute, darling. You just go watch Curious George. I'll change your napkin in a minute. Yeah, won't be long. I think diffusing is a big question as well. People are sort of like, when do I diffuse? What do I do with a diffuser? I'm not going to use a diffuser. So I think morning time for having kids would be great if you've had, and great for us as well, like a peppermint and wild orange, something citrusy, like a tangerine. Citrus Bliss is a beautiful one as well. Before school would be, even to roll on, would be something like a focus blend, like we've got In Tune, which is fantastic, but just keep in mind that these aren't, yeah, nice one, Anna, she just did a poo. Just keep in mind that these guys aren't pre-diluted. If they're diluted, they've got a little touch label at the top, but this is not. So for those, you'll be getting like 4 to 8 rollers out of one of them when you start diluting. That's the other thing I was going to say, is the warning for the US labels. Often they'll just have so many drops in. I'll see if I can share the screen with you guys quickly. There was an option to do it last time. Oh, no, it's not going to give me the option. Something for this, like, I'll read it to you.
Mom.
Hi, Anna. You don't smell that bad.
Hi, guys.
So something,
I'm Anna.
something for the immune bomb is like
Hi, Anna.
20 drops, 20 drops, 10 drops, 10 drops, 5 drops. For a 10 ml drop roller is just, it's just ridiculous. That is too much. And that's why it's so important to have your It's so important to have Australian support, an Australian team that can tell you what's what. They're just astronomical amounts. Not only are you going to waste your oils super quickly, they're unnecessary and they become unsafe when they're in high levels. So something to keep in mind. Back to diffusing. So during study, those memory recall after school would be something calming, you know, start winding down for the day, and something like On Guard to sort of get rid of those bugs from school that they tend to bring back. And same with childcare as well. Bed, lavender peace, cedar wood, vetiver, lang lang, Roman chamomile. There's so many options for sleep, and it's about finding what's right for you. Lavender for me hasn't worked in the past, so come over here then. So cedar wood has been my go-to. So what are some examples of how to actually use the oils for your kids? So what blend would you start using? Do you want to sit on my lap? So all right, we'll have to change it after. So the head lice protection is a great one. So this one's tea tree, lavender in a spray bottle, you know, something like this.
Hi guys, I'm Anna.
And you can put rosemary in it as well.
Hi guys, I'm Anna.
Rosemary's really great for hair growth.
Hi, it's my mom.
And here's
It's
thank
my
you.
Anna.
And good for a dry scalp, which I tend to have.
Hey,
Knotty hair,
No.
especially when you've got
it's
little
my
girls.
eyes.
And I always forget to brush her hair. I'm a terrible mum.
No,
Lavender, wild orange,
No,
or you can even get like a doTERRA hair serum where it just becomes quite silky smooth, and it's just like a little drop out of a dropper bottle. Immune bomb. So this is a classic. Jared's actually got our immune bomb with him, so I made up a different one for Anna. Yeah, the oils. You have to be quiet. So for Jared, we've got like lemon, tea tree, On Guard, and oregano. Now, oregano being quite hot, I didn't want to use that for Anna today, so I put easier in there because I feel like every time that you got to get a, you know, have an immune bomb moment, most of the time it's going to come with needing that respiratory support as well. So I thought I'll put that in there. And it smells good. Yes, everyone knows who you are. Lani Ree's on there. Lani Ree knows who you are. And India. Who else is watching? I can't see. Growing pains. Now this one has been, I just didn't realize Anna could get growing pains so young. And when she was complaining to us about these sore legs, she was just like, oh, sore leg, sore leg, sore leg. And it was usually after a pretty active day as well. So what I used was the Ice Blue Rub, which we go through so much of with Jared. And I just used like a plain moisturizer. That's Anna's. So I did like the tiniest pea size of that, and then probably like a decent coin size of the moisturizer, mixed it around in my hands, and then would give her a massage with it. So after complaining of sore legs, she was asleep within 10 minutes. So I thought it was a pretty good result. So that's been our go-to from now on, every time she complains about sore legs. Sorry. I've got to sit like this. The heel spray, again, if you haven't seen this by now, the lavender, the tea tree, frankincense. So do you want to hop down? Okay. Okay, you lay on the pillow. So the lavender is great for healing. The frankincense is that antiseptic, and it's just like the king of oils. It's going to really help get draw those oils in quicker. Tea tree is fantastic for that, getting rid of the germ side of things. Giving it a bit of a, what was that white spray we used in school? The office used to spray in. Pardon? Daddy's at work, darling. You'll see him soon. Just let me finish this quickly, and then we'll go change your bum. Ears is one you often have as a complaint with kids. Tea tree and oregano are really good ones, but you know, oregano might be hot, so obviously dilute. When I'm saying any of these, I'm always thinking dilution. Lavender is a great one for teething, you know, along the sort of jawline there. We don't want to start putting anything in the mouth, no matter what they say in the US. You know, stay clear of those sensitive areas. I think anything working topically will work quite quickly for us. So I feel like you don't really need to go that next level. How do we know all these things? So if you're thinking about getting oils and you're like, but how do you know what you're talking about? Just look it up. You know, there are so many ideas on Pinterest and Instagram and our oil groups that we have locally, I mean like Australia-wide. We always ask these kinds of questions to each other, and that's why it's so important to have this team support as well. So going to someone that you are friends with in this community and be like, what do I do? What should I be using? And there's also this amazing app that we use as well, which is like our go-to for all our problems if we're on our own and just want to work it out ourselves. And when in doubt, use frankincense. That's always what their saying is. So if you've got like the Home Essentials kit and you get to know those 10 oils, you're pretty much set for a lot of what I've talked about, especially from household stuff all the way through to the emotions. You're going to be able to find a few oils to work for whatever your needs are. Pardon me. I just wanted to touch on where to use the oils. So this is a question that we get as well. So for kids especially, I would always say the number one thing is make sure it's not going to be in a place that they're going to start touching and then rub their eyes, for example. Anna's pretty good when it's time for bed. She's not going to be like, you know, rubbing her neck where I've put the oil and rubbing her eyes. But you know your kids best. It's up to what your gut says. So for Anna, for example, using lavender, would use it on the back of her neck, sort of a bit down her spine and the bottoms of the feet. Keeping to reflexology points is a good one, which we'll talk about. I'll do a video on reflexology in the next few weeks. So the big toe is a really good one for sleep. So that's what we've been doing. Yes, darling, we'll change it up in a second. I'm nearly finished. On guard, like Alison does, down the spine. Digestion, you know, straight onto the tummy. So the closer you can get to the actual area that you're trying to treat, for example, the ice blue rub diluted on her legs. Her legs were sore. So get close to those areas if you can, if it's appropriate to. And if you do have a kid that's going to start touching, you know, straight on the bottoms of the feet and straight on the bottoms of the feet and then put some socks on, or straight on the bottoms of the feet and then if they're in bed, it's usually good to go. Yeah, Miss Opie's magic spray, Rhiannon said. We used to have this white spray, God knows what was in it when we were in primary school, and it was just like this, I don't know what that's called. Some nurses out there would know. That thick white spray that made everything white. Anyway, the heel spray is like an alternative to that. You can't see Dad, we'll change it up in a quick sec. Also, emotions, I just wanted to touch on before she stinks me out over here. I really recommend any of those emotional aromatherapy oils because they really do provide something. Are you right?
Yeah.
Through all the areas. Like, I think the two that are great for kids would be the Motivate, if they're feeling really sluggish or bored or not into things like schooling or activities or whatever, and the Peace, which Anna's holding, that's a reassuring blend. So I discounted Peace. I thought, oh, I'm not going to use that because I just got it free when I got the Motivate. But Peace has been amazing for Anna, especially when we've gone into new places and she's unsure. I find as soon as I apply the Peace, she just sort of comes out of her shell a bit more and is able to be herself around new people in new situations. I think it's a perfect one for when they're just starting school or just starting daycare and they need that extra reassurance. A great one for us as well. But I think it's so important to think about how we would emotionally use the oils and translate that to them, obviously in a more diluted manner as well. All of the oils, yes. Another one is Cedar Wood is such a beautiful oil that I love and a great alternative to sleep if you don't like lavender. I know a lot of people really don't. For us, it's worked great, but it's not for everyone. I think it's just about, equipping yourself with the right knowledge, being safe, using your common sense and making sure that they are safe, not doing anything silly or dangerous, and keeping everyone happy. Are you going to say goodbye now?
Bye.
Another good one is to do an emotional, is to do an intuitive pick. So just getting your kids to pick an oil, and usually they know what's going on. Yeah, and usually the oils they pick are correct to what sort of they're feeling or they need. It's unbelievable how often kids
Yes,
get it right.
Mummy.
They just aren't jaded by
Yes,
the other
Mummy.
thoughts that we are, so it's great. Good fun
Mummy.
to watch. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me for another video. I'm sorry we had a few interruptions with napping explosions and whatnot. And I'll just type back to your questions after I change her smelly bump. Thanks, guys. Bye.